Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today it's time to refresh our list of the top 10 most valuable full art supporter cards in the Pokémon trading card game. I know! I'm frankly, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit excited. So, there are a few that all came in around about $12 to $13 that unfortunately did not quite end up making the list, including Gardenia's Vigor. It's a nice card. It's got Gardenia on, he's very cool. It lets you accelerate grass energy to your Pokemon. It's a cool card. Didn't quite make the list. Came pretty close. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, in the end, just could not quite crack the list. Never mind. We also saw Flannery coming quite close. This is still one that confuses me. Flannery dropped off the list this time round, was on there previously, or maybe it's an honourable mention. Either way, Flannery's always kind of hanging around this list, and I don't really understand why. Is Flannery really a particularly popular character? Maybe, I suppose. It's not a particularly playable card. We never really see it popping up in deck lists. And I never really considered Flannery to be a particularly popular character. But for some reason, every time we do this list, it comes around. You discard a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon and a stadium in play. Never really sees any play, but always ends up around this list. Now, Marnie's Pride comes on this list. And okay, fine, I do understand Marnie's Pride. It's Marnie. People like Marnie. And whereas regular Marnie sees a bunch of play, and for that reason, yeah, you better believe Marnie's going to be higher up on this list. As it stands, Marnie's Pride, it's close because of Marnie, but it doesn't get there because it's not that playable. And then finally, Chorus's Experiment. Now, this one shouldn't really surprise anyone. I don't know how popular Chorus is. I've never really considered Chorus to be a particularly popular character, but the fact of the matter is, it's a phenomenally playable card, and every time we have a really phenomenally playable card, everybody wants kind of the best, fanciest version of it. Let's look at the top 5 cards of your deck. 3 go into your hand, 2 go into the Lost Zone. Really good for, digging into your deck to get what you want. Also good for getting cards into the Lost Zone, which of course is key to these Lost Zone decks, which are very big at the moment. And yeah, this one makes perfect sense to me. So in at number 10, we've got Gloria, one of only 2 cards on the list from the Trainer's Gallery subset, which is very impressive to me because generally the Trainer Gallery just gives us cards that are super crazy cheap. Now, this one comes in at around about $14, so it's not hideously expensive, but basically it's not a playable card like that. Search for up to 3 basic Pokemon without a rule box, put them onto your bench. It's got potential, but it never really sees play. But it's Gloria. And Gloria is a very popular character. The Japanese version of this card is way more expensive. It's over a $200 card. English version, $14. Yeah, sounds good. And weirdly, I've pulled this in English and Japanese some packs, and that makes me happy. In at number 9, we've got ourselves Roxanne, coming in just a smidge higher at $15. We're using TCG Player, we're using eBay, we're basically looking around everywhere trying to figure this out. Obviously, where these are very close together, there's always a possibility that they are going to, flick around a little bit as we go. So, yeah, what have we got with this one? Well, firstly, it's Roxanne. Roxanne is cool. But secondly, it's a really playable card that if you got an opponent with 3 or fewer prizes, you both shuffle your hand into your deck, you get 6 cards, your opponent gets 2. That's kind of annoying, that's kind of playable, and that's how we end up with this card being, on this list. In at number 8, we've got Caitlin. Caitlin comes in around about $18, and Caitlin is very much character, not card. Everybody loves Caitlin. Caitlin's awesome. Caitlin's actually a reprint of a card that came out years ago. Lets you put any number of cards from your hand onto the bottom of your deck and then draw that many cards. So it's a -1 time you remember that you've played Caitlin. It's alright. I always thought this would be good in decks where you were looking for a particular combo. Keep the pieces you want, get rid of the ones you don't. Never really seen any play, but Caitlin's very popular, and so we end up on the list. In at number 7, we've got the other card that came around from the Trainer Gallery. It's actually the Trainer Gallery from the most recent set, that being Silver Tempest. It's Friends in GLAR. Now, Friends in GLAR is another one of those cards that is very, very expensive in Japanese and just not even close in English. $22, it's fine. It's all right. But to be clear, no, the Japanese version is just way more expensive. Somewhere around $110-ish on Mercari, it seems to be. Seems to be around 15,000 yen, maybe a tiny bit more. Weirdly cheaper than Gloria, and this has always confused me. I always assumed that Gloria would end up being higher than Friends in GLAR. Never happened. Very, very strange to me. So yeah, this one comes in about $22. It's a terrible card. It's just a draw free, but it's a beautiful card, so people want it because it's a beautiful card. In at number 6, we've got Boss's Orders at $24, and this is confusing to me because I just assumed this is going to be much higher, but it's not. It's $24. Of course, Boss's Orders here is a super duper playable card. It's in like every deck. And we do know we've got the Boss's Orders Cyrus coming as a full art in the not too distant future. As it is, yeah, for some reason the full art of this is sitting at $24. It's a ridiculously playable card that everybody's playing, but there is another card that does the same job that's coming up later on in the video, so apparently this is enough. In at number 5, we got Klara, about $26, and Klara's one of those interesting ones, because playability-wise, it's not bad. Playability-wise, this is a pretty good card. Lets you grab 2 Pokemon and 2 energy. Get them back into your hand, 2 basic energy. And it has seen a bunch of play here and there. It's waned a little bit lately, but it does see a bunch of play here, there, and everywhere. It's, I think, a bit of that, but mostly the popularity of the character. People like Klara, the popular female characters, tend to have very expensive full art cards, and Klara is more playable than some of them, don't get me wrong, but I do think the character is what's really driving this. And I could say pretty much the same thing about Sonia in at number 4, $28, and look, Sonia's a decent card. Tord Reklev has played a bunch of Sonia in his decks, and Tord is definitely the best player in the world. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon or 2 basic energy and put them into your hand. Sonia's a decent card that's seen a bit of play here and there. But I don't think it is the 4th best supporter in the game. This is very much a case of everybody loves Sonia, and this is a decently playable card, and that adds up. Now, in at number 3, we've got Irida, and Irida is a very good card. Irida lets you go and grab a water Pokemon and an item card. And in these water decks like Palkia, it has seen a redonkulous amount of play. It is, in decks like that, it's just absolutely ridiculous, absolutely stunning. It is great. Not to mention, of course, that Irida is popular. I mean, in Japan, they've had a bunch of stuff which has been Diamond Clan or Pearl Clan. Pearl Clan always wins in terms of popularity. As a side note, Irida is another card that, although moderately cheap in English, is very expensive over in Japan. It's just over $200. It's roughly the same price as Gloria or thereabouts. So yeah, this is another one. If you want this, might I suggest the English version, unless you have lots of money, in which case go nuts. $30 over here. And it kind of makes sense. It's a playable card. It's a popular character. The supporter cards never get ridiculous. This is why I always caution you against paying like $50 to $100 for full art supporters on release, because they never end up being that expensive. So there we go. So yeah, Irida comes in about $30. And then we see a jump. In at number 2, we've got Marnie. Marnie's $45. And this one is really easy to me, because we've got the double whammy. Firstly, Marnie is one of the most popular characters in the game, certainly in terms of Gen 8, in terms of the GLAR region. And it's a redonkulously playable card. Both players shuffle a hand into the deck, you get 5, your opponent gets 4, assuming you played it, of course. And we've got the combination here of a really playable card and a really popular character. This was always going to be the case. Marnie's Pride almost made the list, despite the fact Marnie's Pride is not a good card. So Marnie being a good card, it was always going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It was always going to happen. And that means that in at number 1, we've got Serena at about $50. So Serena and Marnie really separating them from the pack. Serena, again, similar kind of thing. You got the Gen 6 protagonist, very popular character. And you got a really good card that you either discard 3 cards from your hand and then draw until you got 5, or you gust up a Pokemon V. And it's kind of like Boss's Orders, but you've got an early game option as well, because Boss's Orders, drawing at turn 1 with a dead hand, is pointless. Whereas Serena, drawing at turn 1 with a dead hand, well, you can draw some cards then, can't you? And it works out rather nicely indeed. Serena's a great card. Serena's a popular character. Do just bear in mind, just for a moment, that we are in a situation where Silver Tempest has just come out. It's the new shiny set, so to speak. So be a little bit careful. There is every possibility that Serena will fall over time. Irida used to be a $40, $45 card before it dropped to $30. So Serena's number 1 for now, but it's the new shiny card. Do bear in mind this might fall as time goes by and Marnie might regain number 1 spot. Marnie came out in Sword and Shield base. Marnie's price is absolutely legit. It's just Serena we're a little bit worried about. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the most expensive full art supporters in the game right now, from Sword and Shield onwards, obviously. And to be fair, that's pretty much the whole of Sword and Shield. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me which ones of these you've pulled. Tell me which ones of these you want. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel. You can get some bonus podcasts where I answer all of your questions. Join a Discord, where you can chat about various things, and you can get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Dorothy Botka, who's been a supporter of ours for a few months now, and seems to be a very lovely person indeed. So thank you very much for all the support, and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.